Many people have been querying or contemplating who are in a position right now to be able to move back to Jamaica, or in a prime position to be able to do so. And we're going to jump into the conversation to look at the one group of people who are currently in a position to move back to Jamaica. Let's jump into it.
The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me, yeah.
Hello, Wagwan. Big up yourself for the idea yard or your day abroad. Welcome back to another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. Now, at this moment, I am at my little chill spot that I sometimes come and sit back and relax. And I thought today I'm going to treat myself and just take some time out of my busy schedule and just sit here and rest a little. And as I was here resting, I thought, you know what, let me talk to you guys about this. Because the other day I was watching a video and I saw somebody saying about the two groups of people who can afford to move back to Jamaica because of the influx or the high level of interest of people wanting to move back to Jamaica. And so I'm going to come on and share my insight about the matter as well. So currently people feel that there are two groups of people who can move back to Jamaica. And in their view of it, it's one, people who are at a stage where they're retired. They believe that people who are retiring, who have a pension plan and have some savings put together, are able to move back to Jamaica. And the second group of people they feel can be able to repatriate to Jamaica or expatriate to Jamaica are people who are currently working remotely, so who can have an online job whilst they're here in Jamaica. Now, I want to highlight and indicate my opinion about the people who I believe are able to move back to Jamaica, and it's one group of people. And before I share that, I just want to have a little talk about the two ideas of the groups of people before. So the first one, a person who gets to retirement, unless they have a proper retirement package that can help them and they were actually saving towards and planning towards moving back to Jamaica, it will be challenging even for them. So even some people who have gotten to retirement aren't planning on coming back to Jamaica because they hadn't been planning about it previously before they retired, and so it will make it difficult for them to return. Equally, people who are working remotely, they tend to want to be more nomadic and travel the world and see different places. And so coming to Jamaica would just be a temporary spell on their journey and not necessarily wanting to move and remain here in Jamaica. The one group of people who actually are able to move back to Jamaica right now are the group of people who have made it a priority and were intentional about planning to move to Jamaica. And it really doesn't need to take a long period of time for them to plan this out. People do it in 6 months, a year. Some people are doing it in 3 years, some doing it in 5 years, some doing it in 10 years spell. It's all about how much planning you feel that you need to put in so that you are able to live the lifestyle that you need to live. So that group of people have made it a priority and they've intentionally set themselves targets towards working to come back and relocate to Jamaica or repatriate to Jamaica. And we're going to talk about some of the things that needs to be considered when people are planning this type of move. We all know that Jamaica is developing its build out as a nation, and it's a young nation. You know, we've only gotten independence in 1962, and we're working tirelessly to try and see how we can build out our nation and make good use of the facilities that we currently have left over, things that weren't already in contractual agreements even before we got our independence. And so some of the things that people need to think about when they're planning their move back to Jamaica is, first thing they need to think about is their lifestyle preference. Jamaica is not the US, it's not the UK, it's not Canada. The lifestyle that you're going to be able to live here, of course, depending on the community that you choose to go and live in, you can still live a lifestyle that's equivalent to that. But you need to be able to think about what lifestyle you want to curate for yourself. What's your preference? Is it that you actually want to come and experience a tropical lifestyle? You want to actually experience living in Jamaica? Are you planning to live in a rural area, or do you just want to live in a community where you can have connection with individuals and build community and have a network that you can interact with, and therefore help with your socializing in the country. That's something we've got to think about and decide if that's our priority. The next thing to think about is our funding source. So where exactly are we going to be getting the money from? Do we have a means? So for example, if you're going towards pension age, but there are many people who are returning to Jamaica and they're not at pension age, and what they're doing is they're either temporarily relocating with a job that is in some remote capacity, but it won't be forever, because a lot of remote jobs are requiring people to check in at intervals, and so it's not going to be that they're going to consistently be able to do these check-ins. And so we've got to think about how we're going to be making money. Some people decide that they're going to set up business, and what that does is it helps also to create additional employment in the country. Some people decide that they're going to do online things, so like tutoring, coaching, and different things like that. Some people decide that they're going to set up charitable organization, again creating employment and addressing some of the needs and the wants that are currently in existence in the country. So it's about deciding how you're going to get the funding to source your move to Jamaica and living here, and making sure that it's going to be reliable. One of the other things that it requires for those people who are intentional about moving to Jamaica is understanding that moving here is going to require a mindset shift, a drastic mindset shift. And it's going to be gradual, because there are going to be days when you sit down and you're just going to whine and complain and lament because things are just so drastically different. But it's not just different here. You hear people who move to places like Portugal, Italy, certain parts of France, certain other countries on the Mediterranean, countries in the Indian Ocean, countries in Africa, countries in South America. You hear them talk about these things too, because those countries are just simply different in the way in which they exist, and the way in which things are done in the country are very different, drastically different too for some people. And especially when systems have been implemented and embedded for long periods of time, and people are it's been inherited and passing along, and people aren't necessarily making drastic effort to make these changes. It requires a mindset shift to know that you're moving from a country that is a go, convenience, and you're moving to a country that isn't. It's a country that's going to be relaxed, chilled, and so you're going to need to create some of the conveniences for yourself and other people, because there are room for that to happen. So it's about thinking about what are some of the ways in which you are then going to be able to shift your mindset in terms of some of the experiences that you're going to have. Some of them are just inexcusable. Others of them, we just have to recognize that things are developing and they will take time. And the other thing too is just to recognize that things are done different in different places, and we just have to get to the point where we decide what is the battles that I'm going to pick, and what are the things that I'm just going to recognize that I can live with this because it's better than living with the other alternative. And if so, then part and parcel of it all comes together with the different things that we will inevitably experience here in Jamaica, which anywhere you go, you're going to have different issues, different challenges, different circumstances. It's just about which ones are you prepared to take on. And then the other thing that we need to think about is context adjustments. So we've got to take the country in its context, the people, the resources, and different things like that. We have to take that into consideration. So sometimes when we look at it and we look at certain things, my daughter did a video on her channel at Life with Elion, and she went shopping. And literally in her video while she was shopping, she was looking at some of the items and doing a conversion in terms of the currency, and then deciding whether or not it's worth her buying the resources that were there. And of course, some of the things that she was looking at, she already have at home, but she was still comparing the price. Should she need to buy it here, or should she need to source it elsewhere? Because is it going to be more economical for her? And so she gets to that point where she's context adjusting. She's looking at the context that's available to her. We're on an island. We are not a producer society, we are a consumer society, and a lot of the things we need to do the things we need to do are imported. Whilst it's possible for you to buy a lot of things locally, like ground provisions and certain things that's made, and you can buy them locally, not everything you're going to be able to buy locally, because a lot of the things are imported. And even some of the things that are packaged locally, the refined resources that are used are imported. So therefore, it's still going to show a reflection of that imported cost. And some of the ground provisions, we also have to remember that Jamaica is a country where a lot of things are seasonal, which is pretty common to most tropical areas where things are seasonal, and therefore sometimes you're going to need to import other things when you still want them, but it is not the season that it's grown typically in Jamaica. And so some of the ground provisions, you find that at certain season in the year they're going to be costly because either they are in short supply, or the ones that you do find in the market or the supermarket are imported, and therefore it's going to add to the cost of things. And you just have to ride that wave and then decide where you stand in terms of those decisions. So it's about understanding the context of where we live, and also recognizing that Jamaica is a country that is just under 3 million people living on this island, and so therefore the market that you have, that's a city in the US, for example, have more people in there than the population in Jamaica, to put it in context. So therefore the markets that you can have and access to certain things that you will have because of a big marketplace in other countries might not be accessible here, and therefore certain things are going to not be in supply. However, there is a room to create leisure activities, because the mindset of Jamaicans are also changing towards where they recognize that although it's a relaxing society, they also need to be able to do more leisure in terms of their entertainment and recreation. And so there is a market to invest in areas like that as well. So it creates an opportunity right there for fun. The final thing to consider when you are trying to move to Jamaica is to have a look at social proof. Marketers, advertisers, they've constantly used social proof as a way to demonstrate to individuals that things are possible, and the social proof is evident. We see so many people who have returned to Jamaica and are thriving and surviving, and they are not retired and necessarily. So we do have retirees who come, but a lot of the people who are returning to Jamaica are not necessarily retired, and a lot of them too aren't working remotely. They come to Jamaica, they come with their savings and their funds. Some of them have other streams of income. Some of them set up online businesses and doing things like that. Some of them come and actually get jobs here. Some of them come and set up businesses, so they are creating jobs here. But the social proof is evident. There are a lot of people who are leaving countries abroad because they set up their ambitions to do so and to come back. The key thing is to plan it out. I remember as a young child, I had one of my paternal uncles who went to the UK, and he spent 10 years there. 10 years. He was determined that he wasn't going to go there and spend all of his life. So he planned out that he was going to be there for 10 years. And he planned out his strategy. He returned, he got employed, he worked, he lived a full life returning back to Jamaica when he did. And so he was able to get some of the seed capital that he needed to come back and set himself up here. But he did. And so I'm saying that to say that when you contemplate moving to Jamaica, any individual who makes it intentional and prioritize moving back are able to do so. You find strategies, you find approaches, and you plan out your process of doing so. Anywhere you go, you're going to need funds. So it's about thinking about what's the source of the honest way you're going to source funds if you decide that you're moving back to Jamaica. And once you've identified that, identify some of the other 4 things that we mentioned here in this video, and then it will be possible. So there are people who come to Jamaica and then they spend some time and then they leave. And they leave because they are recognizing that they can't live a certain lifestyle that they were used to. They can't drive around in certain vehicle. They can't live in certain postcode and things like those, or they can't be going here and going there and jet setting and things like that. Jamaica is a tourist destination, so holidaying in Jamaica, even for Jamaicans, is expensive. because of the fact that, you know, a lot of Jamaicans are priced out of the holiday scene, because even a night in a hotel is so expensive for Jamaicans in general, regardless of our pay bracket. And so Jamaicans will find the time to holiday, and they will do day trips, and they will do things like those. They recognize the scenarios and the situation, and they decide what lifestyle they're going to live, and they make sure that they're living a lifestyle that is good for them and that they're enjoying and they're happy. So it's about recognizing these things and then being intentional to plan out your return. And if returning is your aspiration, if you are going abroad now and you are expecting that you want to come back to Jamaica, you need to hit the ground running with that plan from day one. Because otherwise you will find that there is always going to be something else that pushes your point as to why it's taking you a long time to be able to do it. And time flies. Before you know it, it's too late. You are retired and you have no option of where you're going and the means to do it. So it's important that we're planning out our return. And so, just to say my final statement on the matter, anybody who decide that they want to repatriate to Jamaica or relocate to Jamaica can do it in this time. But the one group of people who will actually achieve it are the people who are intentional about it and prioritize it. So if that's something you want to do, make sure you are intentional about it and prioritizing it. And if you want some help with that, we have 2 guides, and the link for them will be in the description section down below that you can purchase. And they are guides that give you information and also set you on research path, and it's a workbook that you work through and plan out your return. There are 2, because one of them is for relocating. So you're somebody who can go and come between countries as you please, and therefore you are relocating to Jamaica. It might be that you're not Jamaican to begin with, but you're relocating. And the next one are for people who are on work permits or even undocumented and want to return to Jamaica, and it helps you to plan out that return. Because the key thing to making it realistic, to realizing it, is being intentional, prioritizing, and working through a plan to make sure that you can indeed execute on that ambition. So let us know if you are one of those people who get in and buy one of those resources that we have, one of those guide workbooks. Please let us know how you find it, so that in the comment section on this video, or the comment section where we've placed it in our community page as well. Eliona and I and Daddy, we're on a mission today. We're going off, and look where we are. Look over there. You can see where we are. Yet again, thanks to Madame Eliona for picking where we're going. So we are on the tractor, and that's where I'm going. That's it. That's a little panel where we are. Well, we'll see how cold the water is, and then we'll decide if we're going in there or if we're just going to the pool. So enjoy the day with us. Hello. We are here at YS Falls.
Again, for the 3rd time.
Thanks to Eliona. And it's a place that she likes to go. So it's a place that we make the effort to go to. And we're here celebrating and having some fun. Because as we said previously, her birthday was in the middle of the week, and so she was in school. And so now we have the opportunity to celebrate. Now that they're on a little bit of a break, so we could come and do the celebration that she knew was going to be one of her gifts. To celebrate. So we're still celebrating her. She's our prized possession, so we celebrate her at every opportunity that we get. So let's just show you, other than this beautiful face behind me, let's show you some of the other wonders here at the park. So up over the head over there is a fall, and it's a lovely little spot if you come just to go across and sit, and it's like a little jacuzzi effect. It's gorgeous up there. And if you're one of those people who like to be adventurous, there's a zip line here that you can do. Are you going zip lining, madam?
You want me to?
Why would you? I'm not going on that.
You show me a drop down.
Oh, that will not happen. So, and here we go. So this is one of the pools. This is the
This pool again.
coldest one, as Eliona says.
It's also one of the most shallow. I think it is the most shallow.
Yeah, and it's lovely because we've shown it to you before, but it's the one that has the gravel inside, and they probably just get the pump the water up to here from the river because it's nice and cool.
It's where I was dragged in.
So this is Eliona is recalling that the last time she was here, she didn't want to go in because it was cold, and her aunt dragged her in to the water. So she's remembering that it is rather cold. But it's such a lovely, picturesque view. And all of these little places that you go in Jamaica, and it's just so nice, so breathtaking and relaxing and soothing. I can see why people from all over the world want to come and visit Jamaica, because Jamaica nice. It just is. And this water here, I'm going to touch it now just to see if I'm going to go into it. I pray that it won't, and I won't slip. Like Eliona is trying to get me to slip. It's not that cold, you know, this water here today. It's not that cold because this January has been a lot warmer than it was last year. So it's not really that cold today. So we could go into it, but we're going to make our way up. No hiking today. We've done that the last two times. So now we're just going to go to the pool, which is where somebody's gearing up to be. So we'll see you when we get there.
The Jam Fam family. Where Irie living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam Fam family, the Jam Fam family, yeah. The Jam Fam family. Where Irie living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam Fam family, the Jam Fam family, yeah. Jam Fam, come hang with me.
Thank you for staying with us here on this another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. Bye for now, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.